Well, it appears that most sports fans across the world can agree that the NBA as a sports league is trash these days. But why is that? I believe there are several reasons that can be pointed to that will explain why, some of which I have already outlined in a previous video called 5 Reasons Why the NBA Sucks Now. But today, since the video was very popular with you guys, I wanted to follow up that video with a part 2 and give you guys 5 more reasons why I think the NBA is trash these days. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Sanctuary, where we talk about all things sports all the time. As you can tell from the title on today's video, today we're going to be talking about the NBA and 5 more reasons why it sucks so bad today. But before we can get into all that, if you haven't done so already and you would like to become a Sports Sanctuary Legionnaire, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel so you can get all of the weekly sports content I put out. And make sure you turn on notifications as well so you can get alerted every time I upload some new content to the channel. And if you could, please give a thumbs up if you have the time, because it really helps out the channel with the YouTube algorithms and all that good shit. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into today's topic, and I think you guys are gonna like this one. But just so you know, I feel like there are way more than 10 total reasons that the NBA sucks. There are way more than 10. Let's just be clear about that. I just don't have time to get to it all today. So starting with number 5 on this list of reasons why the NBA sucks, I have load management. I put load management here, and I consider it a problem in the NBA because load management is basically a concept that keeps star players off the court when they don't have to be. Some advocates of load management say that that's because the 82-game season is too long and it's too hard on the players' bodies, and because of that, it's better to keep players healthy for games later in the season and to have healthy stars when the playoffs starts, which is kind of understandable to a point. But to be honest, to me, all of that in the end sounds like bullshit, because the way I see it as a fan, these players signed multi-million-dollar contracts to play 82 games a year. So why aren't they playing 82 games a year, and why are they complaining about doing their job for multi-million-dollar contracts? If they aren't injured, they should be playing. It's plain and simple to me. No professional athlete, in my opinion, should need to rest as often as some of these stars do. And to me, it just reflects laziness. I get that it's not fair to the players to ignore their long-term physical health in the process of an ongoing season just for the sake of entertaining people, even if it does earn them a living. But there has to be a way to meet in the middle somewhat. Like, there just has to be. But I don't know what the NBA should do. I don't get paid to fix the NBA's load management problem. It just constantly makes people turn the TV off and avoid going to games. Load management is a problem. That's why load management is here at number 5 on this list, because it's definitely a problem. Moving on to number 4 on this second list of reasons why the NBA sucks today, I have 3-pointers. And I have 3-pointers here because at this point in the NBA's existence, teams are shooting more threes than at any other time in NBA history, and you can see that with your eyes. And this new trend is causing problems. Teams are basically stacking their rosters with shooters. They're stretching defenses and tearing conventional basketball concepts apart. The role of the sharpshooter was once reserved for just like a couple of players on the roster. Now it's expanded to where there are as many as 4 excellent 3-point shooters on the floor at any time. Even centers these days have become capable of stepping away from the rim and draining 3-point shots from the outside, which is strange. Like, imagine Shaquille O'Neal shooting a 3-pointer. These days, when it comes to shooting, there's no question that NBA players are getting better. And now in today's NBA, there are questions whether this shift is ruining the sport of professional basketball. And in my opinion, I think it is. The biggest reason that the three-pointer has become so prevalent these days is because basically teams have worked out the math, and they've learned that the math is on their side if they shoot as many threes as possible during a game while pushing aside the conventional notions of mid-range jumpers, post-ups that were all popular in the 90s and into the 2000s. To prove all of this, all you have to do is look at two different metrics that measure how often teams are attempting threes. Those metrics are league-wide three-point attempts, which measures exactly how often teams are shooting from behind the arc, and three-point rate, which is the percentage of threes a team takes out of its total field goal attempts, which both stats show a massive proliferation over the last decade. You can see a fairly even progression at the beginning of the chart, and it's followed by an exponential explosion. It basically took 18 years for the average number of three-point attempt teams took per game to increase by 10 between 1990 and 2007. It then took another 10 years for three-point attempts per game to increase by another 10 shots. Having said that, the data alone by itself doesn't tell the whole story, because I'm sure there are many people wondering, how does more three-pointers in a game equal a bad basketball league? But if you factor in the concept of homogeny into the equation, I think the picture becomes much clearer. And by that, I simply mean that homogeny, or doing the same thing over and over, becomes a problem because it makes the game boring, especially in a league where there is no defense already. To me, variety is what makes a sport exciting. For me, it's always more fun to see like a deep shooting team take on a team that likes to post up and likes to dominate the paint, because it allows for more action to happen on this whole spectrum of NBA action. But on the flip side, to me, it's decidedly much less entertaining or interesting to see two teams use identical strategies to varying degrees of success as they run back and forth up and down the court and just heave up three-pointers on both ends just to see who makes more, and then that's the game. And because of all those reasons that I've laid out right here, I'm putting three-point shots at number 4 on this list. Sliding in at number 3 on this list of reasons why the NBA sucks, I have crybaby athletes. I think the grown man baby athlete has pretty much destroyed the game of professional basketball these days, because these days I feel like a large majority of the NBA players are not real competitors. And that's just for me on the outside looking in. That's just my opinion. But I feel like a lot of them are just entitled narcissistic brats who cry about fouls on every play. They flop on the court every time they get touched. They throw fits every time they don't get their way. They demand trades when they can't win on their own so they can join up with a super team and make things go their way. Instead of trusting the process and working their way through adversity and surviving the trials and tribulations of growth that creates legends in sports, these players want to blame everyone around them for their lack of success, from the front office to the rules of the league, to the small markets and everything else in between, everything other than themselves. So back in the previous eras of the NBA, players, to me, just simply had more of a competitive drive, more of a competitive spirit than I see in today's player. And again, that's just my opinion. But when Jordan was on the Bulls losing to the Pistons and the Celtics every damn year for like the first 6 years of his career, did he decide, you know what? I'm gonna go join up with Patrick Ewing and Charles Oakley in New York. I'm gonna let my contract run out, and I'm gonna go play with the Celtics or something. No, what did he do? He stayed, he played through it, he waited until his time came, and he won. He didn't demand a trade to the Pistons or something. No, that's not what he did. Players these days, namely the star ones, think everything should be handed to them on a silver platter. And when they don't get it, they find a way in the end to end up somewhere where they think they can find new people to blame, basically, if they don't get what they want. Like, what's James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant, what's their excuse gonna be if they don't win a championship this year? Injury? Yeah, I bet. How convenient. But regardless, at the end of the day, I still felt like The lack of competitive drive, the lack of competitive spirit is what drove those team members together. And that's one of the main reasons NBA super teams have become so prevalent these days. So that's why I'm sticking crybaby athletes right here at number 3. And I think it's a no-brainer. Moving on to number 2 on the list of reasons why the NBA sucks these days, I have the current commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver. I put Adam here so close to number 1. He could obviously be number 1. But because I feel like a lot of the management decisions he has made that have impacted the league in a disastrous way, that's why I put him here. These decisions I'm speaking of have lost viewership in a massive way and have diminished the overall quality of the product on the court. This season, a lot of the poor quality can probably be attributed to the fact that the NBA season started up way too early after finishing the bubble playoffs in October after the NBA was shut down by COVID last year in 2020. And as a result of that decision, many of the league's marquee players and players in general in the league have been battling injuries all day long. Look at Kevin Durant, look at James Harden, look at LeBron, who never gets injured. And I can't believe I'm defending LeBron here. But this load management is bad for the league's viewership, because if the league's popular players aren't playing, that means less people are watching because the games are not they're not entertaining and they're boring. So while the NBA is collecting its advertising dollars off commercials and all that for just having games, at the same time, it's losing audience for putting on shitty games that nobody wants to watch for all the reasons that we've already listed up to this point. Another decision Adam Silver has made, or rather hasn't made, that has negatively affected the league is his decision not to intervene in some way to stop these super teams from being formed. And I don't know how you do that, but it has to be done. But no, he's more worried about play-in tournaments than he is about restoring balance and parity to the league. And of course, the reason he's more concerned with play-in tournaments over parity is because the play-in tournament, yet again, can generate more revenue from advertising dollars and all this other stuff that the NBA gets paid for that doesn't have nothing to do with the quality of the game, which I guess is more important to him than fixing the actual NBA. His decision to allow bad identity politics and woke, harmful social justice narratives to become the focus of the NBA instead of basketball has also played a part in the league's transformation into a dumpster fire, which I'll talk about more in depth here in a minute. But aside from all of that, his lack of action against the league's bad officiating, the players flopping, the problem with three-point shooting, taking the fun out of the game, and everything else that we've been through up to this point. All that taken into account, I feel like it's a no-brainer why Adam Silver should be here at number 2 on this list. And finally, coming in at number 1 on this second list of reasons why the NBA sucks, I have politics and wokeness. And this point will be mostly my own opinion. There's not really a whole lot of facts or things I can point to that will back all of this up, besides the fact that people who have been surveyed say that politics is the number 1 reason why they've stopped watching and caring about the NBA. And of course, as you know, I don't have to tell you, politics of any kind are always a very sensitive topic with many nuances and many layers to it that it would take a month-long video to get into. So I'm not even going to try to break down all of that here, because this is just a sports YouTube channel. And I personally want to try to keep politics out of my content as much as possible, because to me, in my honest opinion, sports are powerful because they bring people together through entertainment in a special way. And to me, I feel like politics does the opposite. All it does is divide people, because everyone has different politics. You can see that playing out in the NBA in a negative way in terms of the amounts of people no longer supporting the league, the people no longer watching the games, because they don't want to be preached to all the time by people who they can't even relate to beyond the color of their skin or their political affiliations. Maybe. And that's if you share those political beliefs or the same color of skin. If you don't, then I mean, whatever. You don't want to be preached to. And even me, myself, look, I don't subscribe to anything conservative. I'm not Republican. I'm not liberal or Democratic or any of that. At heart, I'm an anarchist for real. I hate politics. I hate the government because I hate anything that infringes on freedom, and that's all the government does. That's all politics does. Having said that, as a black man in America, I fully support police reform initiatives to address police brutality in America. I fully support women's rights to equality in every sense of the word. And I fully support everyone's right to freedom of speech and freedom of self-governance, freedom of choice, all of that. Freedom for everybody. I support all of that shit. But at the same time, I also don't want to be preached to about politics every time I turn on a basketball game, or every time I turn on a football game, or every time I buy a ticket to a sporting event. Even if I agree with the messaging and the premise of the messaging, I don't want to be preached to with identity politics that make me emotional when all I'm trying to do is watch a game. All I want to do is be entertained. I have these same issues with Hollywood and the movies they put out. And a perfect example of this is how they handle a multitude of movies like the Star Wars sequels with all the crazy feminism messaging and gender identity politics they tried to force down your throat. And it's like, damn, man, we get it. We get it. As in me and everyone else who considers themselves on team equality. We get it. Just stop fucking beating me over the head with it every time I want to go to the movies or every time I want to consume entertainment through sports or something. I get it. I don't like preachers, especially when some of these people who like to preach a lot don't practice what they preach when you catch them behind closed doors. I like to see action. I like to see change, results. I'm not into virtue signaling, which is what a lot of people do these days for clout, for likes. Like I said, I respect freedom of speech, and I respect the rights of people to use their platforms to bring awareness to their issues and whatever they want. I respect the right of businesses running their business however they see fit. But with all that being said, I also respect people's right to not consume a product that requires them to spend their time and money on stuff that tries to preach to them about stuff that they don't want to be preached to about. Freedom and respect is a two-way street of accountability for everyone on all sides, and it's non-negotiable. I could honestly, I could go on for days on this topic, but simply put, politics suck, and they don't mix with entertainment, which has been proven time and time again. And because of all of these reasons, I have to put politics here at the #1 spot for why the NBA is trash these days. But what do you guys think about part 2 of this list? Do you guys think I got it right, or did I completely miss something? Let me know down in the comment section down below, and let's talk NBA basketball, baby. As always, if you enjoyed this video and you would like to become a Sports Sanctuary Legionnaire, please do me a favor, go subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up, and share the video with your friends on social media. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. I want to thank you for coming out to join me. I appreciate your support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.